Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda and I have an important news alert for you for my Ignition Time subscribers. Now, to be completely honest, I wish I was giving you guys better news, but I'm just going to give it to you straight and let you know that there is no consensus right now. They seem to be quite far apart. There seems to be gridlock. I know there were some videos, some channels that said that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had agreed to the $600 a week as long as the president agreed to it. That was not my interpretation. I'm going to tell you what I know to be true and I'll give you the facts as I see it. I'll also link you to all my sources in the description section below so you can see that for yourself. Now, on Wednesday, after the meeting, Pelosi said, I feel optimistic that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but how long that tunnel is remains to be seen. Love the way these guys talk sometimes. I mean, Meadows told Wolf Blitzer, if Congress can get it done, the President of the United States will. So there seems to be a lot of talk about unilateral action from the President. In fact, the President is actually taking more and more of an active role the longer these talks drag on and the longer there is an impasse. I'll be reporting that towards the second half of this video as well. Here's what Mnuchin said about the timeline yesterday. He said, our objective is to try and reach an understanding of the major issues by Friday. If we can't reach an agreement on the major issues, it's going to be hard to complete a deal. Notice what he said, understanding on major issues. He didn't specifically talk about the deal. So first they need to come to an understanding on the major issues, then they need to come to a deal. Although they want to try and get a deal done by the end of this week, which as at the time I'm recording this is about 24 hours. Meadows also said that there are no top line numbers. They're still trillions of dollars apart. That's what White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said. So there's a lot going on here. And he basically said we continue to be trillions of dollars apart. So that's basically what's going on. Also, at this point, we don't have any news about what the agreements are on the top line numbers or the bottom line numbers. It seems unlikely, based on what I'm seeing right now, that there will be a deal in place by the end of the day Friday, even though they said they wanted to do it. This is the news that came out. It seems unlikely that there will be a deal in place by the end of this week. And again, Meadows said there are no top line numbers that have been agreed to. We continue to be trillions of dollars apart. That does not sound good. That does not sound good at all. And there were some meetings ongoing between these people. There's actually a meeting tonight at 5, I believe it's at 5 p.m. East Coast time, between the two top Democrats and the White House negotiators. But again, the president is now starting to take more and more of an active role on this. So Pelosi, Schumer, Mnuchin, Meadows negotiating session, I can confirm, begins at 5 p.m. East Coast time today. This was reported by Jake Sherman, and I'll link you to his Twitter feed. He's a reporter for Politico. Really good stuff. And by the way, as far as the stock market is concerned, just on a side note, it seems like the stock market believes that there's going to be a deal, which is why the stock market's at an all, just continues to go higher and higher. It seems the stock market is already priced in the fact that there will be a deal. Just so that you know, I actually got out of the stock market completely about 2 weeks ago. And I did announce that actually on my channel at some point. So the truth is they haven't made much progress in the past 2 weeks. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that they're actually quite far apart right now. In some ways, maybe even further apart than they were in the beginning. So every day we get a little bit of progress and then we hear that they are far apart. So White House is now starting to talk about more and more executive action. So the net effect is things are not coming close to a deal as they were supposed to, as we had heard in the past. And at this point, I have no deal. At this point, I have no idea if there's actually going to be a deal in the next few days, because they still seem to be far apart on a few issues. And Nancy Pelosi said, "We're not having a short-term extension." Her exact words: "We're not having a short-term extension." And she did talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. And now she says the light may be the freight train of the pandemic. So that's what's going on there. Now, the reason I said I can't give you too much good news in this video is because there was a forecast of a rare and extremely active hurricane season for all of us. So one of the agencies predicted 19 to 25 storms. These are storms that have actually been named. Winds of 39 miles per hour or higher, and anywhere from 7 to 11 of them in the upcoming season will be hurricanes. I'm talking winds of greater than 74 miles an hour. And 3 to 6 of those will be forecast to be major hurricanes in excess of 111 miles per hour. So my reaction to that is, oh my Lord, give me a break. We all need some slack here, and it looks like the weather is not going to cut us any slack. So that's what's going on. Also, let's see. Here's some interesting news. After 1:30 p.m. East Coast time today, the senators are going home. They may not come back until next week. The House is out next week. Now both can be called back. I just want to make sure you know both can be called back, but when you send them home, according to Jake Sherman, it's usually because both sides are very, very far apart. I mean, it would blow my mind if all of them went home and didn't come back quickly to sort out, to come to a consensus about a deal. But right now they're so far apart that they're actually scheduled to go out, and they could be called back. So there's that. But you know, I don't understand why it's dragging on so long. President Trump tweeted in the morning that he instructed his staff to prepare executive actions on a payroll tax cut, on extending enhanced unemployment benefits, on the extension of an eviction moratorium, and student loan repayment. So basically he's saying that it's not happening from a legislative standpoint. The House and the Senate are not coming to a consensus, so I'm going to try and do it alone. Now, it's not clear to me exactly how much he can do alone, because a lot of the appropriation of funds have to come from Congress, because the power of the purse, if you will, comes from Congress. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But it's clear that the president is saying, hey, you know, you guys can't get it done. I'm going to try and get something done on my own. Again, it's not clear what he can do, but these are the signs that are coming out. And so what's happening here is, we heard from Senator Richard Shelby. He's the Senate Appropriations Chair. He told reporters on Capitol Hill today, bluntly I might add, we might not get a deal. I think there's a lot of pessimism here. Will we get an agreement? Are we too far apart? We're at an impasse right now. I would hope over the next few days we can get together and do something that will help a lot of working people in America. Republicans and Democrats get together. At the moment, it does not look promising. Those are words from Senator Richard Shelby from Alabama, the Senate Appropriations Chair. And actually, and I did cover this in another video on my channel earlier, so you want to check that out. When Pelosi was asked by Jim Cramer about spending money and about the status of the negotiations, Pelosi said, I quote this: perhaps you mistook, and she's referring to Republicans, perhaps you mistook Republicans for somebody who gives a damn for what you just described. These are the words from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Gosh, that is intense. And also at her weekly press conference, Pelosi basically said the light at the end of the tunnel may be the freight train of the pandemic. So basically we're at an impasse right now. There's not much that's happening. And again, I wish I had more news to report. And White House officials are asking federal agencies as we speak to find whatever money can be repurposed from the CARES Act for, you know, for important priorities. Unemployment benefit extensions are one of them. These are the hardest. Unemployment benefit extensions are the hardest for the president to do unilaterally. And what's ironic is the unemployment benefit extensions are the most important for over 30 million Americans, for all my viewers, and for the state of the economy, because that's what allows the economy to get back on track, and they do not disincentivize people to go back to work. I did talk about that in my previous video. So what's ironic is the unemployment benefit extensions, the most important things to do, are the hardest for the president to do unilaterally. So there's that. Again, I'll read out President Trump's comment. He said, upon departing the Oval Office for Ohio, I've notified my staff to continue working on an executive order with respect to payroll tax cut, eviction protections, unemployment extensions, and student loan repayment options. That's what the president said. So that's basically what's going on. And at this point, we know that over 30 million, exactly 31.3 million Americans are receiving unemployment aid. And that number actually went up in July. And even though the what's happening is more and more people are filing jobless claims every week. So what's happened, because there's so many people filing jobless claims and it's gone on for so long, this could be a sign that many layoffs are now permanent. I have talked about this. Many job losses are actually permanent, and states are finally now starting to work through their backlogs. That's basically what's going on here, and it's quite incredible the extent of this problem. Again, 1.2 million individuals, this is from Heather Long, and this was on Jeff Stein's Twitter feed. 1.2 million individuals filed new unemployment claims last week. That's a decline of almost 250,000 from the prior week. So there is a decline in the number of unemployment claims week over week. But even though this is the lowest level since the crisis began, it is the 20th week, everybody. It's the 20th week of over a million jobless claims a week. It is the 20th week of over a million jobless claims a week. What does that mean? That means a lot of the layoffs are now becoming permanent at this point. There you have it, everybody. There are also some articles on the Wall Street Journal and on other news sources that I'll link you to in the description section below. So definitely check those out as well. I appreciate you watching. Like I've said before, I wish I was giving you better news, but I'm just going to give you the news. I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to speculate. I want you to know what's happening. I want you to prepare for a future. And I've said this before, it's going to get bumpy. I'm with you. I feel for every one of my subscribers. And that's where we are. If you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please also subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet, and please enable notifications so you get instant alerts of future videos going forward. If you would like to get important alerts from us directly to your cell phone, please get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, so that you get important alerts from us directly on your phone and you can opt out at any time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video over here at Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.